No music. Let's talk about it. Hello, hello, hello. Well, I'm your host, Angela, and I'm here to talk about it. I hope you got something good that you want to talk about today. We have a topic that cannot wait to be explained. Before then, let me tell you what's going on in the news. Well, this might be a little bit old news for some people because it's been about a month or so. CNN was running a study, and they said that children with strong family connections are associated with high likelihood to flourish in life. A new study showed that numerous studies that have been done, all of them, have shown that strong family bonds lower the chances of poor outcomes for our children. That means a lot to me. It doesn't matter if it's a one family home or a two family home. The studies show that that strong bond lower the chances of poor outcome for our children. That's why I push so hard myself. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just humble myself just to keep the peace in the home. I'm telling you. And this is a study that Dr. Robert Whitaker did a month ago, but I just felt like it was something that needed to be brought out because we just went through Christmas, and I'm sure the families come together during the Christmas holiday, and that doesn't mean that everything goes smooth, but as long as you keep that family bond and show that love, you better guarantee your child will have a stronger root and feel more confident and more self confident about him or herself. When they go out into the world, they'll feel like they can handle anything because they know that you're behind them. What do you say about that, Donna? You think you agree with me on that? And CNN with this Dr. Robert Whitaker, I don't know how long he did the study, but he was claiming that this is true. What do you think?
I think it's an awesome idea, Angela. I truly do. And with the holiday just passing, that's a great idea to even sit back and to observe that whole entire thing. However, I'm so excited because I've had the best Christmas this year. Actually, out of all the years I've ever celebrated Christmas, I really feel like this has been the best Christmas ever. Everything I asked for on my Christmas list, I got it. And however, I always talk about grown women toys. And when I say grown women toys, that's the things that we like to do in the home. I love washing clothes and different things. And, when I first moved up in the city limits, I didn't have a washing machine. So I wanted me a washer and dryer, and I found the cheapest prices this year, and I'm just excited because I'm going to be washing clothes, y'all, this year. I am getting older, so I'm trying to settle myself. And I think that just listening to everything you're saying is opening doors for me to give me an idea of how to cope with just being home this year and loving to be home, and enjoying every bit of it.
Wow, awesome. I saw some of those pictures that you posted, and I see you had an awesome. I know your grandson had the best Christmas because that whole living room was just full of toys. I know it had to be exciting. You're a brand new grandma and all, not brand, but I know you were excited about that.
Yes, I was.
Well, ladies, what a wonderful introduction. You ladies look so beautiful today. I'm and Thank you, listeners. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to present today's topic today because it's just so dear to my heart. It's so dear to my home, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share this concept that has worked for us since my kids were little, maybe 5 years old. Now they're all adults, and it's still going. So, you, with the holidays, Angela, you mentioned, that families are stronger when they have strong bonds, when they can depend on each other, when they have somebody to love and somebody to grow for. So this concept that I'm going to introduce to you will help you do just that. So the topic for today is just keeping a peaceful home. Now, who doesn't like to come home to a peaceful home? And and I the kids go to school, they have a really hard day, with the teachers, maybe with some of their students, they just want to come home and relax. But a lot of times, the home ends up being just a stressful place than the place that they left, especially also with workers, at work, whether you're working with customer service in cell in office, whatever, after you've had a long day, all you want to do is just come home to into a peaceful place. So what I wanted to present to you guys today was just the concept of having family meetings where everybody can get together to create those things. I started doing this with my family when they were very young, and I did that because I used to have a lot of struggles with them. As you know, being a single mom, a lot of times I would always have challenges where they didn't want to get up in the morning. They were tired. They would be crying. They didn't want to get ready for school. They didn't want to eat their breakfast. It was just struggles all over the place. So we decided to have family meetings to address all of these issues, problems that we were having. So the concept of a family meeting is that basically whether you live in a house, in an apartment, in a condo, wherever you live, everybody that lives within that dwelling should participate in that family meeting, whether it's friends, whether we have types of family nowadays, but just everybody, because everybody contributes to have everybody else acts. So so with that, we go ahead and we set up the ground rules for that. Uh, so these are my suggestions, and take in mind that whenever you set in as a group,
Mhm.
everybody discusses, everybody identifies, what are the issues that affect this family that's keeping peace from coming into that home. For example, for me, it was children not
Mhm.
not picking up the slack. So or maybe not knowing how to do it too. So in this family meetings, everybody provided input. Mom did. It wasn't like a dictatorship where mom is just telling everybody what to do. They were also, contributing. How did they feel? How did they perceive the problem to be? For example, my children would say, I'm too tired to get up so early in the morning. So we discussed what are some things that you can do, uh, so it's easier. So, for example, I went ahead and got them alarm clocks and taught them how to use it so that they could get up using alarm clocks. Another example is, a lot of times they stayed up watching television. So, we had to go ahead and establish, agree with each other during a certain timeline, a time frame. We have to, call it quits on television, or call it quits on stuff like that. You have to, settle with their routine to go to sleep at night. Sometimes they would be hungry, through no fault of their own. Maybe I didn't feel like cooking, and they, they couldn't sleep because they were hungry. So I just had to make sure, that they had enough food to satisfy them, that will help them, have more sound sleep. So everybody contributed, and and I started teaching them how to make their own breakfast, so that they wouldn't have to wait on me to, for me to cook. I bought food that was available, cereal, maybe breakfast meats prepared. Uh, Everybody contributed, and and as we progressed, we would have meetings to do updates, and even, to pat ourselves in the back to say, hey, that was the problem, and we worked together, to make everybody's life easier. But I have to tell
Mhm.
you that in the beginning, doing the family meetings, it was a little bit challenge. Being a single mom, I'm guilty. I was really controlling. It's mom. You do what mom says, and that's it. So it took me to listen to them, to value them, to respect, what they had to say, and to take it into consideration in how we were going to make the changes.
Mhm.
So in doing that, it actually helped them to, to grow more self-confident. I have to admit that in the beginning, they were afraid, of providing input. Mom is going to get angry with us, or mom's going to start yelling at them. So we established, the ground rules that, first of all, nobody's going to interrupt the discussions until, everybody is going to talk until they're done. We're not going to criticizing, saying that, you're stupid, or that's a stupid comment that you're making. So no judgment. Um, we had to make the rule that there's not going to be any yelling within our discussions. There's People are not going to get angry, and as we followed those rules, then everybody got confident. I got confident in us discussing bigger problems. My children got confident in calling me out, in trying to fix issues that I knew I had. For example, one thing that, this is like 15 years ago. Thankfully, things have changed. I had an anger issue. I always had an anger issue. So they, in a family meeting, I discussed. I asked him, I'm sorry that I have all these triggers um, that make me angry, and sometimes I don't know how to control myself. So I asked for their help. Help me. Because sometimes when we're in habits like that, we don't recognize it ourselves, unless somebody calls us out. And in my instance, my children were the only ones around. So as a family, we work to make those type of character changes. So my recommendations, you see them right there on the PowerPoint slide. I recommend, start off slow. Start off with things that might be attainable. Maybe start off with one topic at a time. Usually our family meetings lasted maybe 15 minutes, half an hour. We didn't go all day trying to, beat the dead dog or something. And we set the time limits. And then one of the big things is, sometimes we were discussing sensitive stuff, mom's anger issues, or, kids, being undisciplined, all this stuff. So the last thing you want to do is, for your discussions to go out to like extended family, or go out to friends or something like that. So we wanted to, to remain close, to keep our discussions within ourselves so that we could solve them within ourselves. And it's worked very very well. It works up to this day. And of course it's again, not just as a summary, it's built on respect. It's built on having a mindset that we are going to respect one another, and we are going to take actions to to make changes. We can't make changes, we can't tell so and so you have to change these, but we make changes within ourselves. So for example, in keeping a peaceful home, in a family meeting, you would do, what's the things that are keeping your home from being peaceful? Is it that there's too much yelling going on? There's too much disrespect going on. The house is a mess. Every home is going to have something that's not making peaceful, and every person that's in that family meeting can provide input. For example, what are the things that I consider a peaceful home? When I come home, I don't like to be bugged with I don't like to be criticized. Mom, why are you watching television? Why don't you clean up the house, or whatever it may be. So it's going to be different for
That's
the
you.
children. It's going to be different for you guys. But ladies, this is such a large topic, and I've been going on and on and on, and it's just because I'm so passionate about it. But eh, what do you think are some of the other things that we can do to or share with our audience to keep our home peaceful?
Donna, you got some ideas?
Well, we all know that no home is perfect. I'll tell you that much, especially with having to avoid just confrontations in general. But some of the major things that we have to avoid doing, I believe, is one, even over the entire America, is dismiss the cell phones. Um, Y'all, I've actually seen a family recently when I went out to eat. Literally, sit at a table. The little girl, the brother, and everybody had a cell phone. The mother, the father. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if the baby wasn't on his cell phone in the middle of dinner. But the thing was, nobody communicated. Everybody was in their own little world. And the best time to me communicating is when you're at the table, when you get a chance and the opportunity to sit down with one another. And if we take that away, then when is it a good time to talk? Oh, another thing to avoid doing, especially if you have older children and you're sharing custody. And when it's time for them to come home, sometimes perhaps they might not want to be um, there, or they might come with attitude of not being appreciative, of not fitting in the different homes and the different rules. I believe that we should always sit down and talk, and leave out the other person. If you separated from a spouse and the child has to come in the home, avoid confrontations in general. Um, Sometimes it's hard because you have to communicate with one another due to sharing custody. But for the most part, I try to make conversation short and be quite frank about what you're doing with the child. Give the child the most opportunity with talking to the other parent. I bought my daughter a cell phone, you guys, because when I separated from my spouse when we were together. The first thing I wanted to um, worry about was my child having contact with her father, because I didn't want her to feel like we had to go a distance and she couldn't communicate with him. So the first thing I bought was a cell phone. I think that's a good idea, to buy a cell phone for that child so that they can have a whole different number than your number. However, that's one way of avoiding having to communicate with one another, unless into it's an emergency. But for the most part, you guys, even when there's a argument, I was always taught to never go to bed mad at one another. If there's ever a time that you don't have an agreement or something does not just stick in general, just make sure you come together, sit down with one another, and talk things out. Now, another thing about looking into when the children have to come home. A lot of times, especially if it's a grown child, we don't really want them to come back home. I'm just be honest, it's a lot uh,
Oh, my Lord.
to have to really deal with your adult children having to come back home. You start questioning yourself, like, I don't know. I really don't know if I want to extend that life with my grown child, because once you're an adult, especially if it's a girl versus your son, because sons, most boys usually they are in the room or they like being outside. But with the daughters, we have to bump heads all the time, because it's the grease, the hair grease, the lipstick, just stuff in general, cleaning behind themselves, and you might bump heads. And I just try to avoid different things like that, because when you get older, it seems like when we were children and we corrected them, they might get upset, but it was easy to maintain or easy to sit down together. But when you get a certain age and we bump heads, it's like it's home. They leave and they walk away and they don't want to come back. And I just say, all in all, just learn how to just sit down and compromise. Everybody's not going to be on the same page all the time. There's some things that you might not agree to, but give it a try. A good listener is a great friend. And so try to listen. Sometimes it's just to avoid confrontation, even if you feel like the other person might be wrong. Give them an opportunity to just talk it out. So, Angela, what do you think?
You know what? You and Teresa is really covering a lot of bases. And first of all, before I answer that, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I've been reading your comments at the bottom. I want to say thank you to Deborah, and a couple of other you have sent us comments, and we didn't get a chance to get to those. But we really, really appreciate you tuning in. Let's talk about it on Tuesdays at 7:30. Sherelle, hi Sherelle. We love you guys, man. And let me announce this. If you were here last week, you know that Let's Talk About It is giving away a Christmas bonus of $50. Someone won. So we will announce who won before the end of the show. So if you know some people that was on, tell them to come so they can make sure that they find out if their name is there, because we're like they do with them family reunion lotteries. You're not there, we go to the next number. So you need to be here and find out whether or not you get that bonus from us this Christmas holiday. Listen, to refer back to what Teresa was saying, Teresa has some great points, because I really feel like a lot of the stuff that Teresa has mentioned, I had to put it into action myself, especially by me being I don't know. At one time, especially when my girls was growing up, I was so militant. I was just something to be feared, because if you didn't do exactly what I say do, then I had a big attitude and an issue. And Donna, you remember those days. But I thank God that God had to speak to me and let me know that even though that they're your children, the Bible even says that don't even provoke them to anger. So there's a reason why it says that, because even though they're your children, if you make them feel like they can't come to you and they can't talk to you, they don't want to come home. They don't even want to bother to come home because they don't have a relationship with you. And what makes them feel like they have a relationship with you is like Teresa was saying, she had to pump her brakes, in other words, and not use that authoritarian figure and just give them comfort and let them know you are open to say what you want to say. This is an open discussion and to come together. My main thing was to always have at least a time when we ate together. Now, with me and my son, it's always in the evening because sometimes we're going in different directions in the morning. But I remember even when my girls was growing up, I tried to, or at least tried to make us all eat at a certain time because that way you had time to really spend time with one another. Donna made a good issue because Donna, let me tell you something, girl. I had to check my own self. I'm gonna admit. I would go to the restaurant, be with my son or somebody else, and I was like this the whole time with my phone in my hand. Click, 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 waiting for the meal. And one day I just said, and then Jonathan, he would sit there in a lot of the restaurants, they have this little thing that you can pull up games. You just put in your card, you pay like $1 and they can play games the whole time. And I was like, hold up. No, let's not do this. Let's sit here and communicate with each other. I'm going to turn my phone down, Jonathan, get off that game. And because that's a time of communication because normally we're going in separate directions. But even though you girls, I enjoyed what you were saying. What about those people that don't like to come home, period? My grown children that God blessed me to have a part in raising them, they don't come home. I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky if they come home once a year. And that's hurtful for a parent. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you don't
Yeah.
know what's going on. So I'm glad y'all brought this topic up because I've been doing some research like, why in the world don't they like to come home? One reason, they feel like they don't have no conversation with you. They feel like you out of touch. They feel like, especially like one of my daughters, she likes to have a little drink and stuff, and she know mama ain't about that. So you know what I'm saying? And they feel like you're judging them if they come with their boyfriend or come with their little party crew or whatever. They feel like you're judging them, and they just feel like they're just not. They don't have that communication. So, and then I said, well, there are times when parents don't like to come home either. And a lot of times, especially men, they'll rather go to the bar than to come. They'll rather go and watch the ball game with their buddies rather than to come home and communicate with their family. And I found out that a lot of that is because just what the word of God says. It's better to be on the rooftop than with a nagging wife. So a lot of that, ladies, I'm not bashing you girls. Don't throw no bricks right now. But I'm just saying, sometimes we have to humble ourselves, shut our mouth, and listen because that's what it's gonna take for the spouses and our children to feel free enough to open up home. That's
Yes,
what
and
I think.
Angela, listening to you say that, it's funny how when a child, especially a daughter and a mother, falls out, anytime they have a conflict lately, it's like I'm leaving. I'm out of here, and they actually go a long time without speaking. But I guess it's some type of experience we have in life, because when you get out there in the world and you find yourself in a relationship, when you get a relationship with a man and he breaks your heart, he do something to you to hurt you, you don't walk away from him as easy as you with
That's
your
right.
own mother. And I just question that,
Go ahead, girl. I love that, Donna. I love what you're saying because Donna, I'm gonna be honest. Can we get real on this show for a minute? I'm just gonna get real. Y'all can judge me if you want to, preacher or not. I have literally blocked my girls before because of the disrespect. You know me, I'll block in a minute. But I'm serious. It hurts. To me, it's easier to know that, okay, we don't have the communication because I'm not allowing you to have the communication, rather than to feel like you don't even want to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, mom, how you doing? Or this is why I didn't come home for Christmas. Or this is why you haven't heard from me. So I'm like, okay, forget it. Rather than wait on that call, block. I know that ain't right, y'all.
It's not right. Well, well, here, Donna, let me share one of an experience that I had with one of my daughters, because you're right. All of us, boys and girls at one point, they want to experience independence, and a lot of times in a strict home, they don't find that independence that they need. So my experience was that, you know. Um, they had to come home by, I think at the time was 11 p.m., and I thought that was pretty late. Um, and that was it was a strict rule. So that, and I'm sure there's other reasons for it. One of my daughters, she decided that, and we had a calm discussion. We were sitting down because we were used to, having these family meetings where yeah, it was tough for her to tell me, but she felt that she had to tell me. She's like, Mom, is like, um I'm gonna move out, and I was upset, but it was her. I had to respect it, and finally I told her, okay, okay, you can move out, because but because you understand, because she understood that she didn't want to live under my rules anymore. And I understood that, but my rules were not going to change to accommodate what she wanted. So I told her, okay, you can move. You're gonna have to do it on your own. I don't want you to take anything with you except, probably your clothes. And she left her vehicle that I had bought, and uh but she wanted to do this on her own. And it was also, for her to learn that independence, and for her to see how she was going to do it. And I made it clear to her, at any time that you want to come back, my door is open. You can come back, but you understand that while you're here, it's going to be my rules. So she did, and she was on her own for maybe 4 or 5 months, and then at some point, she said, Mom, can I come home? And I told her, yes, you can come home. And when she came home, she got a taste of her freedom. Good for her. And I got a taste of her not being home. I have to tell you, it was hard on me, but it was also, in a sense, it was a little bit refreshing, because I wasn't up so late at night worrying about when she was going to come home. I kept her in my purse, and we were all happy. She was happy, and I was happy when she came home. You have to do that, but if I had kicked her out and told her, get out of here, you don't want to live under my roof, and I didn't provide a way for her to come back, that would have been tough, because I remember going through an experience like that, where you leave angry, and then when you want to come home, you feel like you can't, because they're angry with you. So regardless,
Mhm.
if you don't agree with somebody else's decisions, you still have to respect them.
Well, let me
Angela and I
let
had the same. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. What was you gonna say, Teresa, were
Oh,
you
I
going to
was
say something else?
yeah, and I was gonna say, the same thing about, um, with blocking people, and and that happens when you feel disrespected, where you don't you feel hurt, and you feel like it's so. If you need to take a break from those, so you can regain your composure, it. I've done it before too, because I needed some time to take, because I understood I can't tolerate people
Mhm.
disrespecting me, especially family members. I still love them, but I'm going to talk to you on my terms, not your terms.
Yeah,
So,
because you have to do things that will help you to have some peace, especially when you're dealing with adults, whether they adult children or whether they adult family member. And this is what I wanted to say is that there is a great difference, and I want the audience to chime in on this one for me. If you can, call that number that's being strolled down there on the bottom of the screen. There is a great difference I found out in raising your child versus raising a blended family from maybe your spouse's child or having to raise someone else's children. It's such a difference. You can treat them the same, you can love them the same, but it's something that they feel that they are being disrespected. They feel that you don't love them like the other. You understand? You don't love them like your biological child, like your real child or whatever. Regardless of what you do, you can give them the world. And Lord knows I tried to give the world to my daughters that I had to raise that weren't biological. But it's a difference. And it might just be boys versus girls. It's a great big difference. I'm telling you, my son, I know that he would never ever make me feel the way that I do sometimes with the daughters. And I don't know if it's a girl and if it's a daughter versus son thing, or whether it's because there's different genetics there and they just feel like, well, you love this one more than you love that one or whatever. Regardless you do, sometimes you just can't change it. But you have to find a place in you where you can have some peace rather than worrying about it, rather than crying about it. And if that takes taking a break, take a break because your peace and your sanity is worth everything. Amen.
Wow.
yes.
Wow. I agree with both of you, guys, especially what you said about how even when they choose to walk away, Teresa was saying, the thing about that is they walk away. If you walk out, then when you're out there, I want sometimes for my daughter to understand that even when I'm not there, that I still love and my heart never changes. And neither will my rules. But a part of me as a mother, every single time, me and my daughter have ever bumped heads and she's left home, I long to know where she is. How is she doing? I wonder all the time, is she okay? Even what she's eating. And I think that in their hearts, because they're angry at the time, they feel like we don't care, but we do. We care because I know here is security. This is home. But if we cannot get along, if we can't, if there's no respect there, as a mother, I have to allow you to walk out that door. There's been times, even with my older stepsons, I have stepsons I try to work with or help. We've had confrontations, or we can't have a good conversation without the talking back, and that
Mhm.
I'm like you, Teresa. It's either my way or no way. It's no talking back. It's no disrespect. And when it happens like that, I think my kids sometimes feel like I shut down. It's not so much as shut down when I if I can't communicate with you, I see no purpose in all the arguing and all of that. And so I get quiet. A lot of times, when I'm in my quiet space, I'm in my praying space. And I'm saying, Lord, please help me. Not just the help me to cope with my child at that time, but help me with my attitude. Help me with what I'm about to do. Because see, sometimes children don't realize that we are human, and your little minds say, well, that's mommy. I can say what I want or do what I want. No. And it's normally happens in most relationships, again, that when there's a divorce, that other child feels like they develop this attitude, and sometimes everything that they've experienced or watching that other parent do, they would use it against their mother or father, and they play this guilt trip. And I had to go through that over a course of time before things got better. And I think what helped us to get better was me being quiet, me being a little silent, not coming off with what I really felt, because it's times, ladies, where our children can literally, and I mean literally, children would say, I hate you, or I don't want to be here. But if we was to ever say the same thing, it would be so, it's like cut them to the core. And so
Yeah.
I held a lot in, you know.
Yeah.
You were
That,
saying,
that's
Angela?
that's good, darling. You exactly right. If we were, and that's why I choose not to say anything. Just pray about it, but block. I don't have time to think about this right now, because if I do, I can't focus on what I need to be doing. Especially if you know you haven't done anything and you have done all that you can, and all that you just keep doing and pouring out and pouring out and pouring out, and you don't receive that pouring out back. It hurts because you're human. So sometimes you just got to leave it for God to fix. And eventually the phone will pick up. I have gone for a whole year, not hear from nobody. But eventually that phone will pick up when it's time, when God fixes whatever is wrong, then
Yes,
a time for them to be able to hear you and listen, and for you to be able to hear too. But when you try to force it, you end up with a mess. Yeah.
right. That's right. And
Well,
you know, our door is just like Jesus. Jesus always, God's hand is always stretched out like this.
Hmm.
And when we chooses to walk away, we chooses that. We make up our mind to leave and go out there in the world. Same way with our children. You said yourself, Teresa, your daughter said, Mom, I'm moving out. Okay. Whenever you have to move back, then you have to still come back to me. And there's a way to do that. There's a way to come back to your parent after you walk away too. I think we have to look into that, because sometimes we get excited as mothers and we be waiting for our babies. Like, I can't wait till she can just knock on that door. He'll just be right here on the couch when I get that door
Right.
open. But no, if you walk away the wrong way, then you need to come back the right way, you know?
yep. And just to just to summarize, this, when my daughter told us that she was moving out, we had a family meeting, because this is something that impacts her, it impacts me and her siblings. So she explained to us everything that was, why she wanted to move out. you know we explained the consequences, how we were going to feel, and everybody respected her decision, as well as we all loved her decision when she came back. So, ladies, you were discussing, some very dramatic, events that happened to all the families. So I encourage our listeners to, to talk about these things in a family environment, so that nobody, not everybody's going to agree with the decisions that are being made, but everybody will have a chance to listen to all sides, and then just have peace within themselves. So, to be prepared, for the other future events that will happen. But that way, a decision that we did not agree occurred, and yet there was peace in our house through that event.
Mhm. The main thing is patience, just having that patience. And sometimes patience is not easy, but you just gotta let God fix it. And because if you try to say, for example, if you try to say, look, what you did is wrong. Don't you understand how you made me feel? Don't you understand that you not calling or you doing this makes me feel bad? Oh man, they'll come back with something totally different from what you said. It's like between the time it left your mouth and the time it got to their ears is totally different from what you said. So sometimes you just have to quieten yourself and just let God fix it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love this. I'm telling you, I really have enjoyed this conversation. I really wanted to. Oh, we have a listener that says, I think the idea of family meeting is great. So that is awesome. Yes, family meeting is great. And it works. And it really works. But the main thing is when you having that family meeting, just like Teresa was saying earlier, just remember you're gonna open up to have the family meeting. So don't go in here with an authoritarian, voice, make people scared to even speak or speak their mind, or whatever, because that is going to shut them down and not want them to even open up. As a matter of fact, while I'm on that, ladies, gentlemen that are watching, that's the same way with your other half. You have got to get to a place where you can listen rather than talk, where you can compromise rather than being right. I heard this old man say this the other day. I can't remember what I was watching, but I think it was a thing that was on. He had this really old couple that had been married for 60 years or over 60 years. And the gentleman said, he said, you had to learn what was more important. Was it to be right or to have peace? Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you're right or you're wrong. It's all about how you can have that peace. Amen.
Amen.
I just missed a comment that came by. And gentlemen, thank you so much for sending that comment. We missed it. Oh, Mr. Cameron, do you pray for the poor children in Pakistan? We certainly do. And you can share the word of God with them. It's a matter of fact, well, not on this particular show. Let's talk about it, but let's talk about it. It's also connected to God's Army Prayer Warrior page, which is connected to God's Army intercessors that pray at 5:38. We've had some people from different countries to come and join us, and I just ask you to come and join us. We would love to just you to pray along with us and voice your prayer in this segment. We've had some people from Africa, and I think we had someone from Pakistan before to come and pray. That is on God's Army Prayer Warrior and the Army National, 5:30 a.m. 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. That's like 2:30 in the afternoon for you. So see, you got a better time than we do. And yes, we do. We